families, brothers and sisters from heavily South America, Brazil, and other regions. Subregion 1, 2, 3, please be welcome. For us to start today's HTM School of today, please join me in prayer. Beloved Heavenly Parents, beloved true parents of heaven, earth, and humankind, thank you very much for the opportunity that you give us to gather once again, to give continuity to our HTM School. I would like to ask you that you be with us and uniting our hearts and minds, and that today we, we might share about your words and then learn more and more about the practice of the HTM activities, and then so we can achieve many victories towards the 2027 vision. We would like to thank you for everything, and once again invite you to be present with us this evening. That's what I pray in my name, Lorenzo Pascual Azevedo of the Central Family. So, brothers and sisters, today we have a small change in our schedule that unfortunately Reverend Kim will not be able to give the main words for today, but he asked that that the national leader of Brazil, President Koichi Sasaki, give the words on his behalf. So, so before we begin, let's show the videos about the testimonies of mobilization of the spiritual world. Let's start showing the videos.
Boa noite.
Good evening, leaders, brothers and sisters of Brazil and all South America. I'm really grateful for the opportunity of giving this testimony. In order to express the mobilization of the spiritual world, would be necessary many books, because the ways that they help us is really infinite. In 2010, when she was in Champion in her daughter's blessing, she was very happy, but also sad, because she was able to realize the sad reality of the ancestors. Then coming back to Brazil, she 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 came back to Brazil determined to finish the liberation and blessing of all the ancestors' generations, so they can join us in the providence and to serve heavenly parents and your parents. By that time, then they just have the the money enough for the liberation of her husband's side. But she felt really strong her 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 own father to really present with her and and really happy for her allowing him to be in champion. In fact, I am still very skeptical and have difficulty understanding or believing in the spiritual world. And sometimes I consider it as just a dialogue that I built inside my mind. Still, I have made the liberations because it is a request from our parents. Because of that time, I was living in Austria. The value for the liberations and blessings was much higher. It was impossible for a couple who were with a broken company, without a steady income, and still living in controversy with many disagreements and fights. The pressure was very great. And then I felt my father talking to me. I will tell Nina to get the money for you. Only my father called my mother that way. And when I visited my mother,
Isso foi em
she actually gave me
1910.
12,000
Meu marido
12,000
sempre foi uma
reais,
pessoa bastante dedicada e fiel aos
and
meus pais.
and she used everything for the liberation
Eu
and
não
blessing.
entendo, não entendia. Nós tínhamos dificuldades financeiras e ele ficava realmente muito bravo só de eu falar que queria mandar dinheiro para Champion. Na
Um,
época,
my husband was
quando eu fui
uh,
visitar minha mãe para as libertações,
really really didn't
ele ouviu meu
understand,
testemunho,
and became
mas
very
o
angry
sentimento
when
intenso ficou ainda pior.
when when I said about um, giving all the money that I received from my mother
Em agosto de
to, to champion,
2013,
and despite giving
a meta
investing so much for the liberations, we still had many
não tinha
infights
ainda dinheiro.
within our house.
Eu sabia o que tinha que fazer. Queria oferecer essa condição para que, além de libertar e abençoar todos os antepassados, a paz pudesse também voltar entre nós.
And then when her father ascended, she determined very strongly to fulfill the 430 blessings as a condition, not just to offer to her parents, but also to improve the relationships
Quando ele perguntou para os líderes,
within her
ninguém
house.
conseguia entender.
And
Na verdade,
despite
esse
she
serviço
she asked
foi
for
então
help from the
feito
leaders,
para ajudar
unfortunately
e
they
ouvir,
couldn't help or couldn't understand.
pensando: ou eu acredito e faço, ou eu abandono tudo e vou
But
construir.
then
Eu tinha
she
duas
came
opções:
to a point that
apresentar
she
uma declaração.
really
A nossa
felt very
declaração
strongly,
saísse
or
negativa
I do believe
com o cartão de crédito
in the
imediatamente
power of the spiritual
e
world,
dizer,
or
literalmente, eu fugi para
or
Champignon.
I abandon everything.
Em agosto de 2013, dias das comemorações, era agosto de 2013, eram as comemorações
And then
de um
she
ano da
chose
invasão dos
to go
Estados
from,
Unidos.
to go
Os Estados Unidos
for
sofriam
the
uma
absolute
crise com
faith,
nenhum limite de crédito no banco. Usei tudo o que pude para fazer
with
essa
absolute faith
declaração.
to
Fiquei lá
to
7
do the
dias,
liberation and
passando
blessing
por
of the
todos os lugares
ancestors.
e aproveitei
And
para
and
orar,
1 year after True Father's ascension, she was in Champion
confiar e ter esperança.
and
A
used
situação foi tal que desta
all
vez
her
não
available
conseguimos,
credit
mas
to
fruto da
finish the liberation
oração
and blessing of the
do
ancestors.
dinheiro, eu nem sabia
And she
como
felt
fazer.
very and
De
she felt
alguma maneira,
a
eu
really
ia
great
orar
peace
ou
by doing
tentar
that.
controlar melhor. A verdade é que em dezembro já tinha conseguido pagar todo o débito. Em janeiro de
And
2014,
despite
voltei para
having many
Champion,
debts
graças a Deus, com a permissão
because
do
of this
Senhor.
liberation and also blessing, she
Pude fazer os 40 dias
she
ordenados,
she became
demonstrando
indebted. But in less than a year, in the very same year that she did that, she fulfilled the payment of
a
everything.
realizar a bênção das 210 gerações até 2013. Apesar de todo o meu esforço, eu só consegui fazer isso com um ano de atraso. Mas uma vez que a barreira foi quebrada, se tornou bem
And
para concluir as bênçãos até as
and
420 gerações.
and despite she finished the liberations, she gradually through effort and also groundbreaking efforts, she was able to fulfill the blessing of all the ancestors.
Porque o mundo espiritual sempre eu sentia sempre que o mundo espiritual estava me ajudando.
and
Sei
and she always felt
que agora
that the
determinei
spiritual world was always helping her.
pelo menos 43 casais até que eles também se tornem casais Xangô. Para isso estou aqui
And then in the end,
fazendo um esforço
her couple was
apesar
able
dos sofrimentos
to become a Jumbo
eu me
family.
senti ainda mais sozinha.
And
Aqui não tem
and
nenhuma família que entenda os
and
meus
she
problemas.
and she's striving
Com muita
to
sabedoria, minha
to
própria
restore
família,
the
minha
the
vida
form the
com meus
43
filhos,
core
meus
families
netos e
and
agora.
make them
Sinto muita
a
saudade
Jumbo
da minha
family.
esposa que está no mundo espiritual. Então perguntei para os pais celestial:
Nowadays
posso ficar aqui sozinha?
she's living
Para ficar
in another city, in another place,
a condição nacional dos 40 dias,
and she
50
felt very
minutos,
lonely,
40 minutos de
missing
silêncio e 50 minutos de louvor.
their
Então perguntei
relatives
para os pais
and
que me ajudaram
especially the husband that is in the spirit world.
e me encorajaram para perseverar.
and then praying to God, and also doing the national 40 days
visualizar
condition.
a completa vitória. De todo o coração, eu
She was
agradeço
able
a Deus por aquele dia.
to relieve her heart
Eu sou
and
Maria,
also feel
filha do esposo de
renewed
Jesus.
determination. Thank you very much.
Através do ano
So now is
intencional
the
de
testimony of Mrs. Margaret Marinho.
nos foi dada
They
a
are from the
autorização nacional de
30,000
realização
couples
da
from
festa de
1992 and
casamento
Chambu family
para
from
abençoar
Paraguay.
430 casais.
They were given
Nós
a
estivemos
40-day national
reunidos em
condition
Paraguai
in November
desde o dia
2018 to bless
1º de
430
janeiro de
couples.
50 para
On this
frente.
occasion, we
Uma
had
série de
already
abençoamentos
released
operados através de
and
símbolos,
blessed 294 generations of my sisters.
dizendo que
The spiritual
aquela
world
área
reveals to us through dreams the area to which we should go. We recognize the area and establish conditions for 40 daily inclinations and prayed before we left to fulfill our providential goal. We
pedimos aos
prayed
antepassados para irem diante
we
de nós
prayed at night
para
when we returned home,
realizar
specifying the
a
area we would visit the next day and ask our ancestors to come before us and prepare couples to accept receiving the blessing the next day. So, in a period of 22 days, working from 3 p.m. until a few times until 10 p.m., blessing a minimum of 10 and maximum of 32 couples, we have achieved the goal daily. Our second generation daughter also accompanied us
convidavam a entrar em suas casas.
on some occasions. We were well
águas
presented and we were always welcomed by people who invited us to enter their homes. First, we used to draw circuit the holy water around the house and everyone who was present. And then we explained the purpose of our visit and held the blessing ceremony with with the holy wine in prayer. Once the goal was completed, we organized a
My name is
next
Cindy. I'm from
for the
Malaysia.
children in the
I
area
received
as the
my
closure
first
of our
HTM
work.
blessing with Jackson Alameda exam in 1989 as part of the 6,500 couples. With the grace of our true parents, we became one of the Chombo couples last year. When I joined the Unification Church, there was tremendous persecution from my relatives and friends, especially my mother. Coming from a traditional Chinese family with Confucianism values, it is the norm that children returned filial piety to their parents when they grew up. As was the practice during the early days of our church, I left my home to join CARP and later became a full-time member. Naturally, this action brought about the accusation and the label of an unfilial daughter. I remembered answering my mother with tears. One day in the spirit world, she will discover that I am her most filial child. Through the foundation and grace of our heavenly parents, true parents, Hengjinim and Temonim, the Heaven and Earth Training Center and Ancestors Liberation and Blessing Providence started in 1995. Imagine my profound joy and gratitude at that time. I could substantially liberate and bless my ancestors and fulfill my promise to my parents within my lifetime. At the same time, able to fulfill and obey true parents' direction with utmost happiness. Since 1995, both I and my younger sister, who is also my spiritual daughter, diligently followed the liberation timeline. The liberation and blessing of ours and our spouses' ancestors became our top financial priority, above that of getting a larger television, going for a holiday, or changing our old car. Spiritually, we sense tremendous and active support, guidance, and protection from God and the spirit world in our family, especially from our blessed ancestors. Without this, we would be unable to fulfill the 430 vertical and horizontal conditions by the beginning of 2020 and receive great grace from our true parents and be registered as a Chombo couple last year. When the Heavenly Tribal Messiah mission was announced, my family discussed and prayed over how we could fulfill this direction. During this period, our eldest son was also preparing to participate in the 2020 blessing in Korea. Our couple decided to make wish papers and prayer conditions to ask for heavenly fortune and obtain help from our ancestors of absolute goodness to fulfill the 430 couples HTM mission and our son's blessing. With 3 children in the university staying away from home, we struggled to make ends meet, much less have spare funds to go to Korea or pay for the blessing funds. In August 2019, I received a phone call from my sister. She invited me to go back to Malaysia with her family to give holy wine to our clan. We managed to bless almost 30 couples of our relatives. Unfortunately, many of our uncles and aunts had already passed away. We discussed how we could fulfill our HTM horizontal goal and finally decided that my family would help her couple to achieve their 430 couples condition over here in Brazil. In return, they will help me financially with the witnessing and our son's blessing expenses. As my sister is also my spiritual daughter, I will naturally inherit her result and fulfill my 430 HTM couples. During the school and university holiday from the end of 2019 until February of 2020, we mobilized our family of 7 to go every day to give holy wine in Pontepora, Mato Grosso do Sul, our mission city. Each family member cooperated one way or another. We were able to bless more than 500 couples before everything was locked down due to COVID-19. Through meeting the people during our activities and seeing the many broken families, their suffering, and the vicious cycles of their lives, we could have a glimpse of the suffering, broken heart of God. As Unification Church members, we are often too engrossed in our problems. We forgot that in many ways, we are so protected and blessed to get to know the Messiah and receive the holy blessing and all the grace that comes with it. Everything seems to fall into place so naturally. Heavenly parents, true parents, and the spiritual world fulfilled what we wrote in the wish paper beyond our expectations. When our couple strives to fulfill the 430 vertical and horizontal blessing and write the wish papers, our only desire was to follow our true parents' direction. The grace of being registered as a Chombo couple is like receiving a tremendous blessing and heavenly lottery for us. Our couple is not spiritually open. Our belief in the ancestors' blessing and the fulfillment of the wish paper comes from having faith in our true parents' words. Our experience proves that when we keep and follow Heavenly Parents and True Parents' words with absolute faith, love, and obedience, great miracles will happen and victories will naturally follow. Aju. Jackson Alamilde Accent and Uisiu Sim, 1275 couples. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for everyone for your testimonies. And now to continue, let's receive with a big hand President Koichi Sasaki. Good evening. First of all, is the translation going okay? Is simultaneously okay? Mhm. So nice to meet you, everyone. So today, Reverend Kim Dong had an urgent mission, and then he asked me to to say some words, and 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 I will follow his orientations for the talk of today. That will be the reinforcement of the contents. The first is that all blessed families must achieve the victory of Heavenly Tribal Messiahs. This is very important. And also liberating and blessing 430 generations of ancestors. This is the goal, to give the blessing and the Holy One for 430 families horizontally. And then until 2022, all blessed families must become Chombo families. The greatest number of people. And also to do that, we have to learn the way to unify the physical and the spiritual world. And through the lectures of the divine principle, we see that the angels have only spirit but don't have flesh. The animals that doesn't have spirit, but have flesh. And the only being them that has both spirit and flesh is the human beings. And then through the unity of mind and body of the perfected human beings, this allows the unification of the physical and the spiritual world. That's why Reverend Kim always says that if if human beings become perfected human beings, one of the one of the effects, one of the proof, the phenomena of the perfected human beings is the capacity to mobilize the spirit world. And then the the spiritual and physical five senses become united. And so na- naturally, Adam and Eve before the fall was naturally speaking with angels and also with God. And so there is there was no difference between the volumes of the physical voice and the spiritual voice. And there and and there was no separation between what one thought and what one expressed. So the goal is for all humankind to go back to that situation through, through the four great realms of heart and the perfection of heart to go back to that original state. And now we are in a very good era. True parents, true parents do not expect our individual victory. They are way beyond. We need to advance the cosmic providence beyond forward. And then we need to open the way, just like Abraham's victory opened the path for all for all humankind. So 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 Abraham opened the doors for human beings to advance in comparison to the previous state. And then Moses also opened more doors to for that advance. And then later on, Jesus and now through parents. And 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 then within through parents' life, hundreds of times they they open the ways, the doors, and and then in the 1980s, Trump parents used to say that they opened the path of the light. And then they many times later declared the opening of new eras, of new doors. And now, through the foundation day of 2020, True Mother declared the victory of the establishment of the safe establishment of Chonelguk. That's what she declared with the staff. That declaration was only 30 seconds, but that declaration was based on the miraculous foundation that your mother achieved by restoring 7 nations around the world, and also by achieving victory in the United States in the end of year, and then going to the world restoration. Through all these conditions, your mother did that declaration. Later on, so after that, both heavenly parents and true parents were seeking that they could see Chombo families. And and then the families through testimony, through liberation and blessing of ancestors, they were open that path. And then the blessed families achieved a stage then that Satan cannot reclaim them. And when when the blessed families achieved that, God could could establish that sphere that was free from Satan's influence. Prior to that, then everyone belonged to to Satan's lineage.
Ele não consegue sentir saudade se fosse pessoa tem linha de sangue Satanás. Adão
Imagine
foi
God,
criado ele foi
in
criado à luz
if there
de
was
Deus.
no one uh, in in the level of heart, God could not miss those who were
Caído era
in
filho
the
de Deus e
in the realm
filho de
of
Satanás.
Satan's lineage. Eve fell and then united
No meio
with
do
Lucifer
Lucifer.
in the
Então,
beginning,
Deus
and
precisa
then
sentir saudade para seu
and then
filho
Eve gave birth
desde
to a
aquele
son in the position
usou o útero
of Lucifer, and then God
a
could,
pessoa que
could not
nasceu de
long
Caim, de
could
Caim
not miss
tem cara de Satanás.
those people who
Natureza como Satanás, linhagem de
who
Satanás,
had the blood's lineage,
natureza
because
como Satanás,
that children had
Deus
the faith of the face of Satan, the lineage of Satan's them the appearance
Deus e
of
você
Satan.
também já passou por
And
isso.
then after these these tragedies, now it is a great miracle that there are blessed families without original sin.
Família que Deus pode
So
considerar
the
sua
blessed
família.
families are the families that God can consider.
Segunda humanidade.
This
Ainda 99%
this this family is mine. And even though 99.9% of human beings belong to Satan's lineage still,
sentir saudade.
they do not have
Mas
they don't have anything to do with
receberão
God, and then God cannot miss them.
abençoada é meu. Puramente minha
But
e
but those blessed families are those
alegria do coração de Deus
that
está
God
sobre
can
mim.
say, these are mine.
Uma vez meus pais mesmo falavam assim: quando eu vejo a família abençoada que caiu, não consigo ver diretamente, porque
Their
dói no
father
coração.
once said
Mas
that when he sees a blessed family that fell,
sangrando o coração.
he he cannot see it properly because it hurts so much.
Ele falava assim, né? Mas a família abençoada
And the
não
scar
consigo ver
in God's heart
líquido
re,
todo
re,
foi
remain.
perdoado e começou a linhar sangue de Deus. É novo tipo de ser humano. Isto é falar
Because
assim,
with the blessed families, a new kind of human beings
nasce com
begin
pecado original. Isto é grande diferença. Até aqui na
with the
igreja
original
você
sin
acredita, você
removed,
sabe, né?
and then
Mas eu estou
and
falando
then
para
give birth to
eu quero
to
que
blessed
você
children without the original sin. You know about
é
this
grande é
already,
diferença. Homem decaído é família abençoada é que tem linhagem
but
de Deus. Não tem
but
sangue
but
de
what I
Satanás.
want to say
Já grande
is
diferença.
is the next.
Como
Is that
homem
there is a
decaído,
great difference between the fallen human beings
Deus
and the
perdoa.
blessed families. That is a difference
Não é minha
of
família,
the
Deus.
blood
Não é que
lineage.
eu acredito em Deus. Não é que eu quero receber amor de Deus. É
And
Deus
then
está tratando você diferente. Esse nós não podemos decidir. Deus que decide, né? Então,
also then
Deus trata eles não filho,
regarding
mas Deus trata
God's
eles como
treatment,
filho.
G- um,
Então, quando
God
você vê
cannot treat the fallen human beings as their children,
completamente outro jeito, né?
but they can treat and relate with the blessed families differently.
Oração, jejum, vigília, dedicação é maior que
This
família
fact
abençoada.
is bigger than any kind of prayer,
E família chombo.
night prayer,
Quem você acha?
and no conditions.
Diferença entre família, aquele que não tem bênção e família abençoada é grande, né? Diferença grande, né? Mas
So for
diferença
God,
entre
there
família
is
abençoada e família chombo é
there's a
maior
great
do que isso.
there's a great difference
Muita
between
diferença.
fallen human beings
Assim mesmo,
and blessed families.
mesmo
But comparing to that, the difference
mesmo
between a
você
blessed
nasceu
family
abençoado,
and a chombo
você
family
não mudou
is
nada
way
por
bigger.
você família chombo. Mas sim, mudou grandemente, completamente. Como mudou?
So as for his
Não
experience,
fez nada, né?
when
Aquele
they
que não tem
became
família chombo,
chombo families, then
talvez não
they
sentiu
might not
muito original.
feel that
Porque,
difference,
uau,
but it really
eu
changed
tenho que dormir.
a lot
Eu sou uma
because
pessoa original.
externally you
Mas
still have to sleep, you
internamente,
still
meu
have
Deus,
to eat,
como Deus
but
fez para
the
mudar?
treatment, God's
Como Deus
treatment,
fez saudade
and
para mim?
the way that God feels
Tranquilidade.
about that family
De Deus
is
sentir
different.
bem com mim.
The
Completamente
tranquility,
diferente.
the ease, the the relief
Então,
of
família
heart
Chombo, se
and
essa
tranquility
família
is very
Chombo
different.
somente está aqui, já chama todos os seres de Deus, porque somente seres de
And
Deus
just the
podem
presence
dividir
of the Chombo
a
families
mão de
calls
Deus
all
e
the
a
heavenly
saudade.
fortune to them. And these are really families that God can
Família sem
miss.
saudade. Pessoa que Deus não
People,
pode separar. Na
people that
presença, ele vem.
that God really miss, that God wants to be with.
Esse nível de
This
saudade
kind,
Deus sente para mim.
this kind of people don't need
Realmente
to
Deus
call
não
God.
pensa
He
em
comes
salvar
naturally
todo, da toda a
to
humanidade.
them.
Por isso, Paulo imagina,
This,
família Chombo, família abençoada. É
this is the highest standard
família
from,
amada, apesar de mundo satânica.
for humankind yet.
Apesar de mundo satânica, mesmo que faz bastante parte
Imagine these,
da igreja
these
evangélica,
differences between the Chombo family, the blessed family, and also the fallen human beings.
falando
The
de
fallen human
Jesus
beings
Cristo,
screaming God's name, Jesus' name, saying hallelujah,
segunda, quarta, sábado, domingo, faz muita oração durante muitas horas,
doing
mas
prayer every day during many
não soa
decades.
bem para Deus, porque
Despite of that, nothing of that sounds
essa
good
saudade fazendo
for God
muito
because
difícil.
God cannot relate
Imagina, filho de inimigo,
to,
tem cara de
to those
Satanás,
persons.
natureza de Satanás.
Imagine the barrier because it's the enemy's
Filho de
children.
traição.
God knows that they are not
Muito
his
difícil
children.
Deus sentir.
They are children that are fruit of,
Se grita uma vez,
treason.
Deus fica alegre. Se grita 2 horas, Deus fica alegre 2 vezes. E se fala glória a Deus, aleluia a Jesus, 1000 vezes, Deus fica 1000 vezes, Deus fica feliz. Não é, não é nada assim.
And and
Nada assim,
and
porque não são
and doesn't matter how much the fallen human beings
apenas família abençoada.
preach
Deixa eu mais outra coisa.
and
Família
also
Chombo agora,
praise God,
não é
God cannot feel
individual.
any kind of happiness,
Sabe de
any
como
kind of sympathy
chega até família
regarding
abençoada?
them.
Ser humano consegue chegar até família Chombo.
True parents open the path not just for fallen human beings to become blessed families, but for them to become chombo families.
Menor, né? Menor de realização. Ainda temos que aumentar, né? Resultado substancial, né? Mas pelo menos Deus permitiu registrar do nível permitido na época.
Although we,
Então, assim,
we,
mesmo que não
we
tenha
still have
visto,
much work to do
se por
in terms
acaso
of
não
substantial
estiver
results, at
na
least
sociedade,
we have
a
them
sociedade mesmo
the
chamando
opportunity, the conditions to be registered
mesmo que tem muito
and
inteligência,
as
muito inteligente, se
as
por
chombo.
acaso não deu certo de dia de vestibular e não entrou na universidade, pessoas que
Imagine
estão a fazer universidade,
um,
do mesmo
a young
modo,
adult that is going to university that is very intelligent,
autoestima e
but
conhecimento
doesn't
espiritual,
matter how intelligent even
Santo nosso
is
mais,
that young person,
exclui
if he or she
família
fail
Chombo. Então,
in the entrance test, doesn't
justamente família Chombo,
the intelligence
família Chombo.
doesn't count
Eles conseguem tratar família
for
Chombo,
for
Satanás
anything.
consegue tratar qualquer jeito.
So this is the point.
Satanás perde de
Even
vez
Satan cannot treat equally
do jeito que estava tocando,
jumbo families.
né? Já
They're
chegou
more
essa época
they're the
incrível,
more untouchables
diferença
by
grande
Satan.
entre família
We
abençoada e família
achieve
Chombo.
when
Às vezes, própria
we
família Chombo
came
não está sentindo.
to this age, and even
Aí,
jumbo families might not
grande
feel
missão
that way.
de família Chombo daqui para frente é
And from now on, the focus of the
igreja
jumbo families
Fundo,
from now on
Fundo Kajun
are the
Kyohe,
Hundok home churches. Hundok
estabelecer
Kajun Kyohe in Korean,
fundamento de cuidar, amar, educar
and
e
create this foundation
33
to
famílias.
care, love,
Né? Às vezes usa
and
o número
protect
36, né?
for
Outro dia eu falei
43 families.
mas quer dizer ou 36 ou até 43 esse número dentro daquele 430 famílias que
Sometimes
existe no livro sagrado.
we say 36,
Nosso ponto é
43,
que
but the point is that
substancialmente
between 36 to 43 families among
fundamentalmente
those 430,
mensagem
we need to have this kind of dedication.
maneira mais deu direção para pastores estaduais, líderes a partir de
And mindful
associação.
of this importance, True Mother herself
Missão
gave this mission
posição alta na
to
minha
the
vida
pastors and also church leader
era o
missionaries
verdadeiro
that
exemplo da vitória
through a 100-day condition, they had to show the model
igreja
of the
nacional
victory
igreja no fundo, ou seja,
of this foundation that is the Hundok Home Church.
aquele fundamento de 430 famílias de vinho sagrado e
And then
430
from
gerações e agora além desse
and then from
escrevem com mais firmeza de 43
and then
speeches.
from based on the foundation of the victory of 430, the
Speeches. Para
430
estabelecer
um,
mais firme o fundamento de família Chombo.
generations vertically and also
Hoje,
blessings
começando
horizontally, we need
o momento
to
Kimbo,
achieve these
ele dá
substantial
ênfase sobre isso.
results.
O que ele deu ênfase é
So,
deixar de especial
so this is the point
nascer família Chombo.
that Reverend Kim wanted me to to emphasize
Mobilização da
to,
vida espiritual.
today. He mentioned a lot about
Especialmente seu próprio
the
fundamento
need
e
for the
que
mobilization
com
of the
43 filhos e speeches, ou
of the
seja,
spiritual word,
43 filhos e speeches. É isto, né? É nossa missão urgente
and that
para
achieving
uma família abençoada,
this
família
36
Chombo,
to 43
com
central blessed families
uma
is our
família
most urgent
abençoada.
mission.
Porque
This is important
né,
not just
lembraram
for the sake of
do caso de Vitor
home
e
church providence,
Chombo.
but also
Podemos
for the
restaurar.
national restoration
Se
providence.
aparecer uma família Chombo de um país, pelo menos existe um ponto central que Deus pode descer como
Chombo families
minha
are
família
the key element
também torna-se
for the
uma
national
família só.
restoration.
Pelo menos
Even if a country have only one Chombo family, then God can see
ponto de família
as a
Chombo
key
é tão precioso,
to
né?
continue and to restore that nation.
Aumentando três famílias Chombo,
And then by increasing the number, three
Brasil,
Chombo families,
12
12
Chombo, outra
12
família
Chombo families, and in the case
150
of Brazil,
Chombo.
54 Chombo families.
Isso já é muito bom para a restauração.
This is very good,
Por
a
isso,
very good
quando
foundation
True
for the
Mother
national
está
restoration.
contendo lágrima, ele falou,
That's why True Mother is actually
esperei
containing her
esse
tears
momento.
because
Esperei esse momento com família Chombo. Agora
she
estou
awaited her own
ansioso
life, her whole
ansioso
life
chegar
for
a
this
esse
moment
momento.
to see the blessed
Depois
families reaching the level of Chombo families.
do nível nível de domínio direito de Deus, ele já faz tempo que ele estava vivendo aí. Ele falou, Kati Sarja, vãos
So,
perfeitos.
so to parents who were living in this realm of the direct dominion
Mas
of
essa
God,
condição é
but
preciosa. Esperar esse momento.
then he many times declared Kachisarja, let's live together.
Deus falou através das bocas de nossa
But the
mãe.
conditions were
Nosso
needed.
pai usou o corpo de nossa mãe para dizer que, olha, vocês
And
muito
then
bonito,
and then
família Chombo, que eu esperava a vida inteira.
on the day
Esperava esse
of,
dia de
of the
declaração.
registration of the Chombo families,
Tão
the
precioso
father spoke
para vocês.
through the body of the mother. How
Nós
glad, how
esperamos esse
happy,
momento. Meus
how
pais.
joyful he was
Então, aquele dia da cerimônia foi especial.
for finally being able to see and to and to
Para
witness this moment
na Coreia
where
teve uma
they could
conexão forte
directly see the Chombo families.
toda a família abençoada. Na verdade, não só família
Now in Korea,
religiosa, né?
the,
Não é só família abençoada,
not just
mas é
the church leader
toda a
families,
família
but especially
toda a família Chombo, toda a
but the
família
members themselves
família linda, Vitória
are,
de sua
are in a very
César fundou
hur-
como seu próprio
hurried way
para
and
fazer
providence
família
to
especial.
to
Para
achieve the
fazer
victory as Chombo
isso,
families.
eu fiz meu fundamento. Você faz seu fundamento. Eu fiz meu fundamento de discípulo.
Your parents said that just like I did
Depois
my
de
foundation, you should create your foundation as well. Just like I started from one disciple and then expanded to three, seven, 12, and so on. You also need to follow this path,
Assim por diante, 124, né?
reaching 72, 174.
Siga meu modelo, imita o meu
Follow my
curso.
model.
Isto é curso fórmula.
Imitate what I did. That's the formula course. So every blessed family need to desire, need to fulfill, they need to achieve victory through the creation of their own foundation.
Que agora estão fazendo mais em sério.
This is a process that at least in Korea they are doing way more seriously.
Que é mesma finalidade.
South America already has the understanding of the home group that has the same purpose.
Caminho único, né? Não tem dois caminhos. É todo.
And this is our only way. Then there are not
Fico muito feliz porque a
two
minha
ways.
já
And then Reverend Kim was really happy seeing that seeing that South America already have a good understanding, have a, have a good understanding of the Hungary
uma
problems.
ênfase grande de Revive Team é mobilização de mundo espiritual, né?
Moving to another point, one of the greatest emphasis of Reverend Kim is the mobilization of the spiritual world. Until 2027, the national restoration is possible, the national restoration. Actually, until 2022 or 2023, the national restoration is already possible. It is enough time. There are enough merits, conditions to achieve that. Not just for Brazil, but also Paraguay and the other countries. We need to, what we need to do is to absolutely unite with true parents and, and connect with the heavenly fortune and the conditions established by true parents and the nation that can relate to that to this heavenly fortune will be the nation that can restore the country. And that's why and that's why Reverend Kim emphasized as the first condition of this year for us to to learn how to mobilize that spiritual world. We are still not using the merits of the era. We need to learn how to mobilize it.
Libertou 430 gerações. Se não me engano, calculando mais umas 7.000 pessoas estão em cima dele.
So, Jim, just one of my calculations. For those who already liberated 430 generations of ancestors, there are around 7,000 people above him. But the question is, are those 7,000 plus people, 7,000 plus spirits working together? Are they working with me to achieve these goals? We cannot leave them idle there. If you are a church leader with 25, 100 internal members, you wouldn't allow them to be idle for so long, and you would send them to do fundraising, to do witnessing, and many other activities. And this is the same situation with the spiritual world.
Normalmente não falo diretamente sobre liberação de antepassado. É mais para essa pessoa percebendo
There was a case of one peace ambassadors that I usually do not say about this about the ancestor liberation with the peace ambassadors, but with that peace ambassador in particular, I explained to her in a way that she could understand about the power and the meaning of the liberation ceremony of the Chombo Providence. This is the power of you having 7,000 plus spirits working with you, walking and living aside of you. This is not an exaggeration. There, and this is not a joke. From the spiritual world, through parent, through father, and also Hunjinim, are giving the orders for the liberated spirits to help their descendants on earth. And their main mission is to help is to help their descendants to achieve the victory as heavenly tribal messiahs and to become Chombo families. And they are very motivated. But even if they are very motivated, there was one crucial error, one crucial failure, that is the lack of understanding of the blessed families and the families on earth that 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 despite having liberated the all the 430 generations and blessing them, they see that they don't feel they feel that they did everything already, and they do not mobilize and ask for their help to fulfill their missions. Mhm. You need to open your minds, change your paradigm. Nowadays is a completely different thing. Thus families can also give directions to the spirit world, not only the Chumbo families, but the blessed families as well. And if you do not ask for something concrete, then the help from the spirit world is delayed, takes a longer time. When you give orders to the spirit world, you need to be specific. Tomorrow, for example, tomorrow at 2 p.m., I'm, I'm going to that house to give holy wine and asking them to not allow the children to disturb the ceremony and to one of the spouses to go to the toilet. These kind of things. If you're going to do this action tomorrow, you need to start praying and ordering the spirit work today. This is very important. Mhm. And 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 even if you need more, you already have 7,000 good spirit with you. But if you need more, you can say to Father, please, just for one day, lend me 1 million good spirits. Then they will go there to help you. They will mobilize, and then that situation will not be invaded by the evil spirits. And and the good spirits even work within the dreams of the person that you want to visit. They do not allow to any evil spirit to work in the man, or to work in the mind and the head of the target person. You need to be very specific on the goal and what you need to do. It is incredible. Every time that I pray for the absolute good spirits and give them directions incredibly in the next day, it happens it happens even better than what I have directed them to do. Please imagine how many directions can you give to them? At least 7,000. You can ask at least 7,000 things for them to do. But you can also mobilize all those 7,000 good spirits for a single person. You can do that. You can order a war of 7,000 good spirits against evil spirits. Who will win? But there is an interesting difference that I feel, at least. When the blessed family give directions to the spirit world, the 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 spiritual world understands as the tribe leader saying to them, but when the Chumbo family asks and gives a direction to to the good spirits, then they feel like the king is ordering them to do something. It is a really different level, a different atmosphere. Okay, so they so then need to do need to pray and order directly and detailed. We nowadays do the 40-day, we do the 40 minutes prayer, and then after that we do the prayer here in the Chunshim one with and we pray again with very specifically and with a great amount of details.
três, quatro, cinco direções. E amanhã minha atividade é isto. Basta 5, 7 minutos
and
por
then
vez, mas claramente dá direção, ordem para
and
todo
then
esse vídeo.
by clearly giving the directions of the activities of the next day, normally, very naturally, the spirit world will work very hard to achieve that goal, to achieve that ideal.
Uma pessoa. Se você vai lá, juntos com você está fazendo atividade com 7.000 membros no mundo espírita.
If you go there to to your activity with that heart and with that preparation, you are not going there alone. You are going there together with 7,000 plus good good spirits.
Aprende durante esse período tempo de função de 40 dias, outro 40 dias, outro 40 dias, e faz bastante tentativa de mobilizar muito.
And then so please during this 40-day Johnson, try and try again to have this experience of mobilizing the spirit world in the first 40 days, the second 40 days,
Você guarda absolutamente espírito na sua cabeça, sua mente,
and so on.
dia e noite. Então, qualquer coisa o que você toca,
Take all the good spirits with you every moment of the day. This kind of merit exists. Everyone needs to desperately desire to become Chombo families. Later on, I also add one thing. These days, we had a meeting with Reverend Kim here in the Brazilian headquarters. Within and he said that within 2 years, absolutely 100% of the blessed families need to become Chombo families.
Aí, nesse reunião, expliquei, entendendo o coração de Reverendo Kim Dong.
And then I explained to him, knowing knowing the heart of Reverend Kim. He he explained to to the members in this meeting then that Reverend Kim have have a have a direct connection and her relationship with your mother, and then if the national leader also have this relationship with Reverend Kim, and then all people below the national leader have, have the same kind of artistic relationship as centering on that figure, then that is end game. Everything can be achieved, everything can be realized, because there is this direct connection between God and all the levels. So if you do everything without questioning, absolutely you will achieve that without doubting. Mhm. I, I, I believe everyone listened to the testimony of Mr. Mauricio, then that he wanted to buy a computer of 3,000 reais, but ended up buying buying it through 100 reais. For the spirit world, they do not feel the difference of money, but the only problem is the connection between the blessed family and the spiritual world. If if we have this portion, then this posture of receiving the direction and just doing, then 2 years is enough for all families to become trauma families. We, 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 once we learn how to inherit and also to mobilize this condition and also the heavenly fortune that your parents prepared for us in the last years, then we absolutely can achieve every each one of our goals. E- Even maybe 1 year and half would be enough if the plus families fulfill that and and have this posture of heart, but it depends on the family. So our responsibility now is just do. That's that's why I said there in the meeting, let's let's hit the drums, declaring that we will do, that we will do. Absolutely. We don't need that many things. We just have to believe and do.
Sem o discípulo, sem o filho, na verdade, sem o filho sem
Mobilize
ele ser membro. Ele
your
chama
good
coisa de
spirits
Deus.
that
Então,
are
quando eu falo
your
ele aqui,
your spiritual children
quando eu falo
as
ele aqui,
well,
minha
and
esposa,
then work
ela faz
together
ligação de espírito mal.
with them.
Espírito mal fez assim. Meu Deus, ele já acertou.
And then
Ele ensinou coisa que não devia saber. Agora vai dar certo providência.
and then
Espírito
when
mal mostrou
and
aqui.
then when and then when
Muito
Reverend
chateado
Kim
sobre o que eu farei.
taught,
Outra vez fala assim,
when
mais uma vez bem,
after he
presta
finished
atenção.
him
Tudo está falando
his
coisa certa.
his talking
Só
of him, he
união
felt
para unir
like the evil spirits
só
patting
acreditar
their heads,
somente é
saying,
agora época para
"Oh no,
época para
he
aprender
teaches them
coisas da
something
igreja.
that they
Por isso
shouldn't
que
learn."
tem bastante testemunho de mundo
So
espiritual, porque
so the evil
agora
spirits
temos
were
que
kind of
estar entendendo dessa forma.
desperate, but
Então,
still we need
é isso, né?
to be aware
Podemos fazer.
of that, because this mobilization of the spirit world is is the key point for
Tem que fazer.
for us to achieve this victory for the 2027.
Tem que tornar-se família Chombo. Tem que fazer muitas coisas. Mas no início de 7 anos,
In
a
them
gente
in the following years,
tem que ser
in the 7 years course, we need we have many things to do. But in the beginning of this 7 year course, what we need to do is to learn how to mobilize the spiritual world. Because if we do not learn it right now, then in the following years of this 7 year course, then we will not achieve everything.
dando
We
direção
will not
hoje
achieve
para a
anything.
família espiritual, dia noite, toda qualquer coisa, né? Então, qualquer coisa, ou seja,
If we keep
fazendo
keep
geração,
giving orders to the spiritual world day and night, every moment
vai dar certo.
of the day, then absolutely everything will
Capacidade de Deus, mundo espiritual, né?
then we will achieve victory in everything.
Deus começou a
We
fazer
are
isso
achieving
porque
this
chegou
level right now.
é porque
Why did
vale a pena para isto.
God
Agora
started talking about that? Because the era, the time has come that we can do that. We grew
crescemos, por isso
to
Deus está falando sobre isso.
to this point, and that's why God is saying that.
O que
That's what I
que fala, né? Mensagem de hoje, Reverendo Kim.
that's what I would like to finish
Vamos ficar na habitual de
my
meia
talk,
decisão.
emphasizing again
Toda
the
família
points
cristã
that Reverend Kim wanted me to
família
say, that
Chombo.
let's everyone
Se
achieve
tornar
victory in the
ou
HTM
entrar no
mission,
domínio direito de Deus
and also let's everyone
é
become
tornar-se
Chombo
mais
families, because by doing
fortalecido
that
nele,
we enter in the God's direct dominion,
fundação
and then
para restaurar
we help
a
strengthen
igreja no
the
reino.
foundation to restore the nation.
Três discípulos, 12 discípulos, 36 casais,
and
36
and even after you became a Chombo family, you need to follow through Penny's course as direction of your mother to achieve our 36 to 43 central blessed families. Let's achieve victory through that for the province. So I thank you once again for the presence of all the South American countries. Thank you very much.
Ok, muito obrigado. Vamos dar uma salva de
So
palmas
thank you
ao
very much.
Coach
Let's
Sasaki
give
pelas palavras.
President Koichi Sasaki a big hand.
O pedido do reverendo Kim e
So now, according to the petition
na semana
of
anterior,
Reverend
que
Kim,
mais famílias pudessem dar
he
seu
asked
testemunho,
that some families
um breve relatório falando
could give
das
some could give a
atividades
short
previstas
testimony
e também das
or
atividades
even
que
a
estão
short
por vir.
report
Então, o ponto
on
principal, né,
that the Chombo families are
reverendo
doing as activities right now.
desse testemunho é sobre esses três estágios de atividades, né, que o presidente Coit, inclusive, comentou
So
agora. Então, primeiramente, nós
so
devemos nos tornar famílias Chombo até
so the
2022,
core of these testimonies
lembrar nossos
are
antepassados e também
are
fazer a
are,
cerimônia
are
da
this
família, né,
point
para 430 famílias, muitas famílias, né, da América
that he's
Latina se
showing
tornaram membros.
in the screen
Falamos
right now
nesse primeiro
regarding the
estágio
Chombo
que
families,
deveríamos terminar
that is to create
2022. Então, muitas
the
famílias estão
down
avançando
tribe,
nesse processo. Então, o testemunho do reverendo Kim foi que ele
and also
pediu para que
fulfill the vertical and also horizontal victory
muitas
of
famílias
the HTM.
fazer
So many
atividades
families
nesses três
are
estágios, né? Então,
already
para se
fulfilled
tornar essa família Chombo,
this
nós temos as atividades de
this
homework,
point.
né? Através do oicos, buscar um relacionamento
and the next step after becoming Chombo families, then that we all need to become until 2022, then the next step is to develop home group activities. So, and then through one-to-one divine principle education, we can grow from 1 to 3 to 12, and then 36 central families and so on. But from the moment that we achieve 36 substantial and also central families, we get to the point of creating our own home church, where the Chombo family can can give them the Sunday service, do the do their Hondo care, and also the family, and also those 36 families can attend and also give the tithes and realize the family festival, and then starting showing the model and the standard of the kingdom of heaven from the local level. And this is one of the most important emphasis of Reverend Kim. And he really wished that all the blessed families from Heavenly South America could really understand these points and 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 these teachings regard as the core points for the providence of the following years. If you want to to see in more details about these videos, you can see them the video number 6 of the 7-day workshop. We have about 20 minutes on exclusively about this content in that video. Mhm. And I really recommend all of you to to watch again that video and to understand more in depth about this content. So, centered on this, let's first receive Mr. Roberto Pasqualato as the first testimony. Sorry if I'm not being able to apprehend everything, but they are speaking kind of too fast, so sorry for that.
Boa noite.
Good evening.
Tá dando para ouvir?
Can you hear me?
Tá dando para ouvir?
Can you hear me?
Ok.
Okay.
Eu gostaria de dar meu testemunho, né?
So I would like to give my testimony on how I was able to become a Chombo family, blessing my vertical line and my horizontal line of 430. In reality, the heavenly liberation activity, the liberation of ancestors activity started here in Brazil in 1999. By that time, I was living there in Campo Grande, Mato Grosso do Sul, and that was a very difficult time that I was just starting my family life, and we have many difficulties. But despite of that, we had some miracles. Miracles that allowed them to participate in them in the Chumbo Providence that was beginning in Brazil by that time, and allowing them to connect the ancestors to the Providence. So he came from a very Catholic family that lighted candles for them, for the ancestors, visit the graveyards. And I remember them that he was coming to São Paulo for the liberation ceremony. And at a given moment, he was in a van. He was coming to São Paulo in a van, but suddenly the leader that was in another car stopped the van and then asked him to to enter his car.
né? A libertação que nós
And as the
faltava
van
muito
broke
para poder libertar mais
broke in the
pessoas.
way and was not able to reach São Paulo,
Doou para a gente o
he
dinheiro que a gente
he felt
precisaria para
that
poder tirar a pessoa.
as a
Ele
miracle.
apareceu, deu o dinheiro e disse que quando
Also,
eu voltasse de São Paulo, que eu podia pagar essa pessoa. E eu não
also
conheci essa pessoa.
in
Sem
one
nenhuma
occasion,
pretensão ou os
he
costumes familiares de preocupar com os antepassados,
he was
em
doing
95 a
fundraising,
gente fez
and
uma
suddenly
doação para os nossos
one
antepassados para
person
eles participarem
gave
com a
him a
gente.
big amount of
E
money
nós renovamos
and said to him
antepassados no ano passado, sabe por quê?
to to
Através da
repay
dinâmica de
to the person
renovar os antepassados para poder
when
participar.
he came back
E eu também fiz, né,
to the city, and he used
os
that
amigos
money
que
from
eu conheci
for
nesse
the
processo.
liberation, but never again
E eu
saw that
convidei
person.
a
So that was a
minha
miracle
esposa a fazer
again.
a oração e mandar os antepassados virem participar do seminário de sete
And
dias.
and
Quando
then
tinha seminário de sete dias em 2001,
oth-
2002,
other point one
eu convidava
was
os
that
antepassados para
at
festejar
at a
com os
given point
antepassados da
he
minha esposa, né?
he
E também para as famílias
he together
que não
with
conseguiam
his
vir,
wife he
né, para
mobilized
essa
his and
iniciativa,
her ancestors to
também
together come to join
nos
the 7 day workshop
fortaleceu, né? Essa questão de fazer
here in São Paulo.
reunião e comentar, colocar a intenção, se
And also
preocupando
the
de
gathering
como
and the
conseguir, de alguma
and the
forma, fazer
caring
essa mudança
and the
e
caring
as coisas já
for the
acontecem.
spiritual
E de
children
algum jeito vai
is
aparecendo
also a
gente
very
que vai ficando animada
groundbreaking
e
moment
você começa a
when
ter
you
uma
share
equipe para completar
this
esse
preoccupation, when you
esse
share
grupo,
this
né?
intention
Uma vez que nós
with your spiritual
começamos
children,
juntos com a
you
questão
allow
da
them
liderança vertical,
to
eu
work
consegui,
together with
a minha
them.
esposa fez até
And
220
then
pessoas.
through these miracles and
E
through this mobilization, he his family and also her family, the family of his wife were also um, able to finish. From first, his family was able to finish the vertical liberation and blessing, and were able to advance a lot in the lines of her of her husband of his wife, and then through many conditions. Um, One day, his wife received a, a calling from a relative, giving them the money that allowed them to finish the amount to finish the liberation of the remaining ancestors from the wife's line.
Milagre, né? Essa questão de pensar
And
e
then
orar,
when
pedir
we
e
look back,
começar
me and my
a
wife,
essa direção,
this was really
essa intenção com o mundo
a great
espiritual,
miracle
essa
that
intensidade
that allowed them
de
to
alguma
become
forma
Chombo
essa
families,
devoção, uma ação de devoção
especially the points
que as
that they
coisas
always
acontecem. E
ordered
graças a Deus nós
and
conseguimos, né?
pray together,
Fazer
and
essa
also
parte em horizontal. Mas eu
especially
quero
order
agradecer
this
essa palestra do reverendo David King, que a gente tem
to the good
coisas
spirits,
para fazer. Então,
to the absolute good spirits, so they can work together. And this was crucial for them to be able to achieve victory as Chombo
somos
families.
54 mil pessoas, mas a região mesmo minha tem 50
So
mil pessoas, né?
so now so
Então,
now that so now that he became a Chombo family, this is a plan
e até mesmo
for
conquistar
him
a segunda região,
to
é fazer
for
com
him
que
to achieve that
nós
second step,
tenhamos as condições de 40 dias
that
de
is
oração, de jejum, de
to
libertação,
develop
e
oikos activities and also
nacionais,
reach to local leadership.
estadual, né?
The first
E você mesmo
is to
colocou
establish
condições extras para
um,
visitar a área,
uh,
fazer oração, fazer
the first
limpeza.
is to join
Eu
the
fiz 10 mil panfletos e entreguei
the
para cada
national
área,
individual
e aí deu
condition and also extra conditions.
condição extra, além das condições, para aprofundar, para
And
aparecer pessoas, né,
this extra conditions
participantes e até mesmo conquistar líder.
will
Né?
be new
Isso daí
pamphlets
ao mesmo tempo, né,
and other conditions beyond the national condition to that will allow him
explicar, né, que aí o mundo espiritual tem uma visão
to
dessa
have a
intensidade
bigger and more profound reach.
e definir claramente, né, a sua
The
região,
second point would be
região que
to
você
do
deseja
activities with the
fazer,
existing spiritual
lugar
children,
B, o lugar tipo Abel, o lugar tipo
of him.
lugar que tem
And
mais
also the third
recursos,
step would
um
be
lugar que tem mais
to
recursos,
clearly
e onde tem
define
mais
the mission area,
disponibilidade,
identify the
e
possibilities and also the local needs.
particularmente para que quando eu fazer oração, eu saiba que ele
And
tem
this should be
acesso,
clear
com
in his mind in
facilidade
order
para
to
acompanhar aquela
when they
situação. E aí encontrar também,
when
né,
his family prayed to the spirit word to be very specific, and also very detailed regarding the directions
localizá-lo
that the
aonde?
spiritual world
Na casa do velhinho,
needs to follow.
bêbado, mendigo, vendendo chiclete para comprar almoço.
The
E
fourth
você
one
prega,
is
você quer
to
receber palavra de Deus? Ele fala,
find
pois é,
people
então eu coloquei ele
in a
em
very needy
condição
situation and help,
condições
love,
para
and
ter
serve them
certeza e colocar
as
como exemplo
conditions.
o princípio de Deus
He
para
he's
ele.
now
E
saying
aí eu
one
fui
experience that he
levantando
met
condição,
um,
né? Aí assim dessa forma eu
uh,
senti que eu levantei condição para depois
a
encontrar
couple
pessoas melhores, né? Pessoas que vai
in a
realmente
very
precisar. E
in
vai
a very
precisar de
vulnerable
dinheiro, vai
state,
precisar algo
and
melhor.
then he asked them
Arrumar
if
um jeito para
if
ser
if,
acessível,
if they
perceber essa
wanted
necessidade. E, né, o
if they
primeiro
wanted
foi
to
o
receive God's
pastor
word,
Daniel,
and they accepted, and through this he felt that he was reading,
né, ele
um,
formado em geografia,
he raised conditions to
tecnologia,
to yeah,
comunicação,
he accumulated
e aí
more
ele
conditions. And the fifth step
colocou assim
would
para
be
ser
that
eficaz, um membro de uma
of
religião,
creating
ele
activities and also
colocou assim,
situations
ele fez uma
them
doação de 10
that his activities
cestas básicas. E aí eu
be perceived by the
capacitei para
community
6
leaders.
famílias, né,
Mhm.
distribuir
So
6
this is the second
cestas,
step.
e ele ficou
Then
muito
these are pictures
empolgado. E aí já
of his
fazendo
activities
alguma coisa para aquela região, que é um tipo
that he's visiting
eles me reconheceram, me reconheceram
community leaders
e ele
and
veio e trouxe um pastor.
supporting and
Convidou
helping them
eu não conhecia. Eu fiquei muito feliz.
in achieving
E um pastor,
their
né,
goals.
o pastor Daniel e o padre
And
Eduardo, né? Então eu
through this,
conversei com eles
he was able
e as duas
reach
famílias
Catholic priests and also
passaram para mim fotos
evangelic
presencialmente de
priests as
oferta
well.
e a gente já planejou
And
como
then
ir
they
ao
started
centro
to
seminário.
attend
E desse jeito
the
com ele nós encontramos
the
duas
central
pessoas da
seminar,
sociedade que é presidente e
and
vice-presidente,
then
né, da
being
Associação de
through
Corpos de
this
Bombeiros de São Bernardo.
him
Ele tinha na
he's
época
being able to present and to
uma
introduce
entidade
to
com mais
parents'
de
work.
40 jovens
Faltam
estudando,
4 minutos
e eu
para seu
ajudei,
tempo.
e eu ajudei eles, né, a terminar, né,
Through
a abrir mais
this
um
him
centro, né, e assim
he's being able
que
to
precisava, né. E aí eles queriam fazer uma atividade aqui na
help them
região, e eu
in
ajudei
their
eles a
goals,
estruturar, eu
and
ajudei
at the
eles
same time
a
they are
apresentar e conquistar
they're presenting
esses
them
4
the
líderes
two
que
parents
tinham
ideal and bringing them together
de fazer condição. Eu
to
ajudei eles a
fulfill God's
organizar um
will,
evento, né? Eles fizeram
and also
esse
helping community
evento,
leaders
né?
by
Começando, e eu pude ministrar
supporting the
30 minutos para os jovens, falei de princípios, de valores, e aí depois
the
retornei mais 30
firefighter
e
course,
a ideia de comunicar como
and
mais essas pessoas.
and having this
E
kind
aí
of
nós
social activities
fizemos
with the
aí
firefighter course, and also
criar uma ONG, né? Esperança em Ação.
and also
E
the
convidamos
the
todos
traditional
os
courses.
jovens, né,
No,
líderes da igreja,
the traditional churches.
membros da AFUPM,
Also,
os pastores, um
he
espírito
was
de
organizing
voluntariado, de
meetings
voluntariado,
to
e
create
aí todos os presidentes do
a new
conselho
NGO
assinamos um
named
pacto
Esperança em Ação,
para
that
ajudar
will be Hope in
a
Action.
divulgar, né? Nós
So,
planejamos quem vai
and
fazer
this
isso, a
NGO,
diretoria,
through
e como vai
this joint
acontecer,
planning,
o que a gente vai fazer, quais são
they
os
they
principais
aim
beneficiários desse lugar. E
to
aí nós
help
fomos para
the
algumas
people
moradias, fomos para universidades de direito,
in vulnerable
para dar
situation
apoio
in the region
e
as well.
explicar. E
Also,
eles fizeram o estatuto, né?
here they,
Planejando já
they also
o
visited
regimento dessa ONG, né?
the
Esperança
local
em Ação.
universities,
E aí o Corpo de Bombeiros já abriu
trying
atividades,
to bring
já
them
espaço para
together in the
desenvolvimento.
process of creation
Aonde eu fiquei
of
como
creating this new
diretor
NGO.
responsável para poder dar educação interna. Então, na faculdade, nós conseguimos parceria, né?
And
Conseguimos
then
8 bolsas de
through
bolsa, né?
the
Para
university,
continuar, né? O curso de direito para a gente
they were able
continuar pagando
create
esses jovens e lá mesmo
partnerships,
conseguimos
and also
concluir a
were
doação
able
financeiras para
to create
cursos
opportunities
de cursos
for
de
those
nutrição, de
willing to
sentar sofá
willing to
e
study to attend the
estruturar
law
e
school
planejar
in that
um
university.
curso para esta região. E aí
They were
depois
able
veio o trabalho de dar
to create this kind
profissão à
of
educação, né? Para o presidente do Corpo Bombeiro eu consegui dar introdução, ressurreição
this kind
e
of
hierarquia. Para o
through this kind
pastor, né? Eu dei
of relationships, and
pastor
also as a
discipulado,
result
né?
of
Muitos
this
deles não
um, of
adequados
the
à minha
social
realidade
activities,
política. Eu dei
he's been
conselho para
able
pastores
to
pessoas
directly
que
give divine principle education
chegar à
to these to these authorities, to the Catholic priests, to
e
the
também
evangelical
para
priests,
os verdadeiros pais
and
para
also to the local leaders
eles
as well,
colocar
like the chief of the firefighter corps
a
and
gente
also
trabalhamos, né,
the university
junto
presidents as well.
ao pastor e fazendo uma a um, né? E aí os três eu senti que avançou bastante, aprofundou mesmo a questão
And
do oico, né? E também
and
envolve
through
os
these
oicos, né?
activities,
São as pessoas que me
and
ajudaram, né? Que vivem comigo, as
especially
pessoas que
this
acreditam
one-to-one
em
divine
mim,
principle
né?
education, he
E
feels that
de forma
their
geral
oikos
a chegar
was
até
really
12, né? Meu plano para chegar a
was
12
really
anos e depois até
um,
36 também,
was
né?
really
Então eu tenho mais ou menos quatro
increased. And
etapas
then
aí nessa transição.
through this
E aí
core three
também
people,
já tem essa
him
congregação que eu ainda estou
he
formando,
plans
né? Pessoas que eu já
reach
conheço.
the next 12
E
people
no domingo vem a quinta pessoa, né? Que é um advogado que ficou muito interessado pela
because these
associação.
three
E com
core
certeza, né? Como
because
escritório
these
de
three core
advocacia,
families are being able
principalmente esses 100 que
to
já
bring more
passaram,
and more, and also
já encontrei
to
que
witness to another people as
participação
well the importance
e essa
and the
troca,
reality of these
eu já
activities
estou assim
that
trabalhando,
are
né,
being held.
para chegar à vitória das 12 pessoas, para
Through
depois
this,
eu ser diretor
he is working toward
de família, né?
the
E
realization of the
depois
victory
chegar a 36 ou
of the 12
43,
families.
trabalhar através da atividade
And
social
then
em grupo, né? A gente tem
in order
36 grupos
to
até
go
chegar
from
a
the stage of 12 families
36
to reach
famílias.
36 families, the first step is to
E
continue giving
vejo
uh,
jovens até os
is to
30
continue home
anos
group
e
activities,
outros até os
also
40.
through the NGO
E aí o
activities
Ministério do Louvor, que é
to
bastante
relate
antigo,
with the
né?
parents of the young people and then
Sobre
teach them the divine
louvor,
principle. The
onde
third is to create
encorajar outras
a
pessoas a
praising
usar aquela palavra
ministry,
e
a
somar
singing
na
group.
salvação.
The fourth is
E
to
aí
find people
e visitar igrejas, reuniões
in situation
para
of
ministrar para
vulnerability
eles,
in
para
order to
servir
love
eles.
and serve them, and also
E no futuro,
to
né,
visit
fazer outro
churches
tipo de
and
atividade
other religions in order
extraordinária
to
com as
create
famílias
more ecumenical
e
activities.
estudar, né,
And
a
also
religião, porque eu estou
as the third
estudando
step,
aqui, eu tenho que saber
him
mais, né? Sei que
he's
tem uma área
planning
de manancial,
uh,
uma área de proteção
family
ambiental que eu quero
festival
estudar mais
events
antes
and
de
also other
ter
community
ideia, né, das
events.
atitudes
But in order to do that, first, he needs to discover
porque
the important dates
minha
for the
luta
community and also
para
plan events.
ter uma
Also,
família
as the
melhor,
second
né?
step,
Tem aqui
create
na minha
the
cabeça
peace
algumas
road and also
ações
activities
e
to
também
take care of the
definir
environment, and also
à medida que
together
for
with the
possível,
family festival. And
os
third,
12
work
líderes
to involve the local leaders,
nas audiências
just like the
de
mayor and the city
conselho.
council in the activities. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much.
Você tira, você tira a tela de compartilhamento. Ok, muito obrigado. Vamos avançar um
Okay,
pouco em
thank you very
relação
much. Let's give him a big hand
E agora, para poder dar o segundo
for the
testemunho,
testimony.
vamos receber
So,
então a
so
senhora
now for the
Sheila
second
Fernandes.
testimony,
Eu vou
let's
passar
receive
para
Mrs. Shayla.
que então ela fala
Let's
e
receive
depois
her
vai
with a
passando
big
os
hand.
nossos. Então a senhora pode me dizer que eu vou passando o PowerPoint da senhora daqui.
Boa noite a
Good
todos.
evening. Good evening, everyone.
Quero agradecer primeiro a Deus, aos verdadeiros
We would like to
pais,
thank, first of all, to Heavenly Parents and to parents for this opportunity.
colocar o primeiro.
Sorry, her audio is very low.
Meu esposo, Luiz Carlos e Sheila, família Tiambu. Agradecemos
So they are Mr. Luis Carlos and Mrs. Shayla Chumbo family.
centrais, presidente 8, Salão Norte. Pode passar? Então, como sabendo, além da nossa responsabilidade
So knowing about the responsibility of attending to parents,
nós
him,
deveríamos
her
fazer
husband, and she combined, then that he would be
tão bem nos antepassado
uh,
e eles fariam
that he will be responsible for the liberation and blessing of the ancestors, and she started the holy wine ceremony for her tribe under the direction of President Koichi and Mrs. Onam in order to fulfill the HTM activities until February 12, 2019. So they determined to fulfill in this sense, and in order to achieve that, they did many prayers and also um, invited and called the spirit world to help, giving blessing in the houses, in the squares, and in the streets. And then on February 9, 2019, at 10:45 p.m., uh, the, with the help of a spiritual daughter, they were able to finish the 430 blessings horizontally. And then regarding this point, they, they have a special experience. Them that when the chombo box with the holy robe and all the items came, they didn't have the money to pay the taxes and also to receive the chombo box. So in front of this situation, what they decided was to pray. And and that day they they received they received an invitation for a meal together. And and when and when they and, and when they get to the when they get to to the house, the dog of the house owner jumped over her, and then for around 2 minutes menaced her, and the dog even bite her hand. And then and then in in a given opportunity, in a fraction of a moment, the spiritual daughter that was with her uh, went and hold hold the dog, and then she was able to to leave that situation with a heart of gratitude. And what she felt was that uh, she had paid indemnity. And then and then um, and then after that moment, by visiting another family, um, the yeah, the other house owner um, went to give them uh, a part of the money them that they needed to in order to receive the boxes, but that was not the full value. But mhm. But then um, after that, her her husband also out of nowhere um, received the needed money to pay to receive the chumbo box. So to this miracle, they were able to attend properly the chumbo ceremony. So next slide was when your mother came to Brazil. They attended many meetings with NGO leaders, pastors, and that was the moment where when they found the community leader, Mrs. Rosa, that today is um, the spiritual daughter. and then through that community leader, it allowed them to open new doors for 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 community activities in a new condominium. So in that place, they did many social activities like the distribution of basic of living baskets and and many other social activities, especially attending the people of that condo of that condo. Mhm. So so and that has been and that has become the headquarters for her activities and their goals for this year is to start a home group with three positive families from the condominium through one-to-one divine principle education, and then from that foundation of a home group with three families and also one-to-one DP education, lectures, and also social activities. They aim to until the end of the year to reach 36 families. So how she will educate 36 families to to practice the tithing and attending the Sunday service? First, through our example as God's family and practicing the words and entrepreneurs traditions, teaching the importance of the service, tithing, and hundoke, and also how they will transform the mission area through through getting 36 families positives with with their help, um, just as other partners, then they will realize the family festival together with the community, believing that through the witnessing, then they will awake the attention of the political leaders and also religious leaders of that locality, so they can come to to recognize the importance of the work of three parents together with the community. And also they plan to to create a big picture of two parents. Mhm. Yeah, then they prepare um, a picture of two parents to place in every in each building of, of the condo that they are living at. So this is the plan of the activities. Thank you very much. So just one doubt regarding time. He's asking 1 minute left. Okay, so we finished. Thank you very much for listening to this testimony.
Ok, muito obrigado. O testemunho
So
foi
thank you
muito
very
forte da
much
senhora
for this
Sheila.
testimony
Como o esposo ia falar,
of
mas
of
travou
Mrs.
ali, a
Sheila.
internet não está saindo
Seems
mais.
like the husband would say something, but the internet,
Obrigado por poder nos
but the
ouvir.
connection
A conclusão que
um,
ele vai fazer,
failed.
mas que todos
So
aqueles puderam ouvir,
so in another
é,
opportunity, he will finish
o PowerPoint que foi preparado por
he
ele.
will finish
Obrigado pelo testemunho. E agora, para poder finalizar, nós vamos
the
receber
content. And now, as the
o
last
pastor Amaral da
testimony,
Mota para o seu
let's
testemunho. Nós
receive
podemos
Pastor
receber com uma
Amaral
salva de palmas.
the Mota. Let's receive him with a big hand.
Pode compartilhar a tela do Senhor, pastor, com
You can share
o
your
PowerPoint.
screen, Pastor, the PowerPoint.
Boa noite a todos.
Good evening, everyone.
Quero primeiramente agradecer ao Pai Celestial e
First of all, I would like to thank Heavenly Parents and your parents for this opportunity of becoming a Chombo family
gratidão por esse momento especial.
and I have a great gratitude for them by being allowed to attend this moment.
Na verdade, para chegar à família Chombo, começamos
Actually,
em 1999.
the course to become Chombo families started in 1999.
A minha
That
esposa
started
foi
with
essa
miracles.
família e aí dividiu
One of them
a
is that
questão da herança das
the
terras, né? E a
is
minha
that
esposa ficou com a
the
orientação, né, de
that
repassar.
that his wife
Como nós
received
somos
an
descendentes
unknown
nós
inheritance
em 99 e nós começamos
from the
a ver,
families.
vimos uma grande diferença nas nossas vidas
and then by selling those lands and then investing everything in the liberation of the ancestors and also their blessing, they were able to feel to feel a great difference in the influence in and the help of the spiritual world in their lives. And without the help and mobilization of the spiritual world, it would be impossible for them to reach this point. So so despite they having many spiritual children from many regions of the country and the world, I would like to focus in one especially. That was this family, that is the family of of her wife, of his wife's brother, and the spiritual children. So these families really help them a lot with the HTM Providence. Mm. They helping as the spiritual grand, grandchildren and then helping them. And these are pictures of their activities giving blessing in many places. And and how will he work with oikos in order to to conquer people and the the leaders of the society, working initially with the spiritual child Davi to conquer the local leaders through through his participation in in the community gatherings and also involve himself in the local activities in a more active manner. And through this spiritual child, more 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 active, he wants to involve more spiritual children to to become also chum, Chumbo families. And his goal until 2022 is to involve all the 20 spiritual children there in the region for them to become Chumbo families as well. And then the planning of the social activities in the communities to restore the tribe is through the action of this spiritual child, is serving them, the local community through social activities in the schools. And through this, he is conquering the teachers and also the students' parents. And for the future, he intends to organize some interreligious activities and and to realize social services to attend that community. These are some pictures of his spiritual child helping in the school and also uh, giving witnessing through the local radio. And how will they do the DP study, the one-to-one DP study with the community people? And in the moment they started the one-to-one activities, but due to the pandemics, they're doing just online. And through this spiritual child, they will um, incentivize and help other spiritual children so they can begin the DP study of one-to-one and create their tribes as well. These are the pictures of these one-to-one activities and also home group activities. And how do you plan to reach 3, 12, 36 uh, families of spiritual children? So because he is in a major public mission, he's one of the vice presidents of the Brazilian church, to dedicate proper time to to do to do this work would be very difficult. But his main strategy is to create home groups with the spiritual children, with existing spiritual children, and also involve new guests and starting to teach uh, one-to-one DP workshops, and then expanding until 36, and then 124 and 430 families. And after reaching the 36 families and open a home church, how will you educate the families to attend the service and do tithing? And the answer would be through workshops and internal guidances of the education on the importance of the tithing and the Sunday service. That will be the formula course. And also he plans to visit house to house in order to give the hot dog service. And also with the restored 36 families, how will you realize family festival events or, or other community events involving big number of people? And this will be done through partnerships with leaders and the local community, realizing events in the public places, focusing on focu- focusing on education, and then inviting the local leaders to these events and to feel that spirit of, of transformation of the community. That, so through these partnerships, to to expand him, to expand the capillarity of these activities, and then focus a lot on the education using the public places to do that. Here they have one example. This is a picture of before the pandemics. That was an event of blessing and also holy wine to more than 12 couples, in, including the mayor of his residing city, that is Almirante Tamandaré. And the event had more than 150 people, including peace ambassadors that were them, to whom were paid homage during the event. So this is some pictures of the events that were done there in the Almirante Tamandaré city. He is very acquainted with the mayor and also other authorities as well. So although the um, although we have these many activities, the gifted person in to make it all happen is of his spiritual child, Mr. Davi, and through and then through his activities, he's developing a lot his own tribe, and just like just some couples are missing for them to become chombo families as well. So they are working very hard in order for the spiritual children to become chombo families, because they know that is the key to mobilize the spiritual world, and the key through which heavenly parents and also parents can feel absolute happiness. So these are pictures of the mayor drinking the holy wine. Mhm. Always also judges, city councilors, and many other authorities as well. So his wife and also many other spiritual children attended. These are also another pictures of the spiritual child giving testimony to bishops and also taking part in the peace road in order to create a peace environment in the city. So there are many activities. So, so because of the short time, I I would like to finish my testimony here. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Okay, thank you very much for all your testimonies. You are doing a very good work. I was really surprised that you are doing so many good things, and I was very happy. And I believe that other countries are also doing many other good activities and doing their maximum effort. So let's continue doing our best. So we see that that through the home group activities, we see them that activities here in South America really increased a lot. So from now on, we need to absolutely centralize ourselves with the will and the wish of our central figures, and especially of your parents. So please be be centralized, and let us develop our maturity in order to understand the petition of God and Heavenly Parents and also to parents here. So now we can finish for today. So may Heavenly Parents and the parents continue blessing you and all the families of Heavenly South America. Have a good work and thanks for efforts, and let's achieve more and more victories. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Have a good rest. Good evening. Thank you very much. Sorry for the lacking translation. Please have a good rest. Thank you for your efforts.
Parabéns às famílias.
Have all a good evening. Have a good night. Many victories for all of you.
Tchau, senhor Roberto. Parabéns, senhor Roberto.
Boa noite.
Ô, Martica.
Parabéns, senhor Roberto.
Tchau, tchau, tchau.
Doutor Amaral.
Ô,
Martica.
Pastor Amaral.
Ô, senhor Martica Alberto.
Tchau, tchau.
Obrigado a todos. Deus abençoe a todos. Brasil, América do Sul.
Feliz cumpleaños.
Leila, pide testemunho, parabéns.
Parabéns.